How important was that? Did
Oh, that was that already was. You didn't worry about Polish or Slovak or Italian or
okay? Now, when you were growing up, how much did the nationalities stay together as far as neighborhoods and
well, I'll tell you what. The Slovaks would go to St. Benedict's, and the Hungarians would go to St. Margaret's Church.
so growing
So
up?
it was more religious.
So
Yeah, it was more religious.
no, no, no. These were still Catholic churches, right?
No, no, but it was your ethnicity kind of dictated which church you would go to.
Well, you went to the church where your
Mass was said in your language.
because that's how at St. Benedict's I would go to 11 o'clock Mass in order to. It was a Slovak Mass then.
Okay, how old were you when you went to this mass?
Oh, I was a young girl.
But you knew English.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Weren't the masses in Latin when you were little?
It is all in Latin.
Well, I thought you said.
Oh, but later on they made it in.
Whatever language you chose.
Yes.
Okay.
Like St. Benedict's was. You could go to any church you wanted to, but then that was the ethnic.
Okay, but growing up, weren't your neighborhoods very ethnic? Like,
Oh, that's when I was growing up. I was in Homer City.
right, and those neighborhoods were very ethnic. The Slovaks were in one area, and Italians were in another area.
That's when in towns, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Like mostly the Slovaks were in Coral and Grayston, and Luzerne. There were a lot of Italians up there. So
Okay,
that's
so-
about it.
So even though,
Yeah. So growing up, there was
there was
distinct
diversity.
lines.
Yeah.
There was a lot of bigotry too in Homer City
Towards who?
towards the Roman Catholics. They wouldn't have. They weren't able to build a Catholic church here.
Because
God knows.
who knows? Who knows?
So that's what.
Okay, so who didn't want the Roman Catholics to build a church? The Protestants?
The Protestants.
So there was religious.
There was
religious diversity there.
Um,
In fact, when Father Wolf, that was in what year was that?
Father Wolf was Cleveland when I was growing up.
That's exactly right. But they're still in that little town. They didn't want him to have a parish there. In fact, he was living in one room in the falls there. Oh yeah, that was it wasn't too long ago that they
accepted the religious tolerance.
That's right.
um,
It's hard for the young ones to understand that, but that was
Okay, Molly's got more questions.
Grandma, besides working, when the war started and helping out in the factory, do you remember anything else? Was there anything else that you did to help the war effort?
I worked long hours.
How long? How many hours a day?
Well, sometimes it's just 10 hours.
Were there any laws or limitations on how much you could work?
That I don't remember that.
During the war, how many days a week did you work? Did you work 5 days a week or
I
6?
worked 7 days a week.
You worked 10 hours, 7 days a week?
sometimes 10 hours.
7 days a week. Okay,
7
so
days.
depending on what they needed, if they needed it, you worked it.
Wow.
Well,
Did you get any overtime for working that?
Yeah, they get. Well, let's see. I don't remember that overtime business. That wasn't.
That wasn't part of the deal, huh? It's like,
That wasn't part of the deal.
Were there any regulations on safety when you were working?
Well, see, where I was working was safe. I worked as an inspector when I first started at Parker Hannafin. Then
what about other parts of the factory? Do you have any idea if they had any?
They made machine parts for the planes. That's where our.
Okay, but like, did people have to wear goggles, or did they have to?
Yeah.
Were there other,
They didn't have to wear goggles.
There were no safety regulations.
I wouldn't swear for that. I don't.
Okay, but nothing that was very obvious.
I think that was very obvious.
No.
Okay. When Grandpa finally came back from the war, did he receive a GI Bill, or did he receive any special money after he came back for his service? No, he just got what he was paid during the war.
That's right. Once that was finished, once your duty was over with, you didn't get paid.
Grandma, do you remember the atomic bomb being dropped?
What was that again?
Do you remember when the atomic bomb was dropped to end the war?
Oh, I remember that, yes.
Where were you? Or can you tell me what you remember about the atomic bomb?
I don't remember where I was at.
Do you remember people talking about it, or do you remember being scared at all about it?
Or do you remember? Yeah, what was your reaction to all those people being killed?
See, we didn't see the bomb people or anything.
You just heard about it.
I just heard about it, yes.
Okay. Grandma, do you remember when Roosevelt died?
Oh yes, he was down in Florida.
He was in Georgia,
Or
actually.
Georgia.
Yeah, he was in Warm Springs, Georgia when he died.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you remember Truman taking over after him?